Good afternoon. My name is Gabby House. I am a senior at Tarleton State University, education major with a military science minor. And yes, I'm laying on the ground, 100%, soaking up the sun. Anyway, I have been asked to share with you a little bit about my testimony, where I come from, and what the Lord's been doing at Tarleton State University and how the BSM has played a role in that. First and foremost, I want to thank you guys for supporting me and for supporting the BSM and supporting ministry on Tarleton State's campus. My saying's been a salvation for the nations, and college is where it starts, because they start at college and then they go around the world. And so, yeah. Anyway, a little bit about myself. So I came to know the Lord in high school. Before that time, I didn't really have much of any of a faith background. Didn't really go to church. I believed some really funky things. If you watch the TV show Supernatural, there's my theology. So, to say the least, I didn't know who Jesus was at all, really, honestly. And then I came to know the Lord because my cousins, they were Christian, and they asked me to go to a church camp, and I had a best friend who he was going to a church camp, and I literally idolized this guy, and so whenever he was doing anything, I was going to do it too. And so he was going to church camp, so I was like, guess what, I'm going to a church camp too. And so I went to a church camp, and my cousins at the last minute had to bail out, and so it was just me. My little sister decided to bail out too, and so I ended up at a church camp with a bunch of people. I had no idea who anybody there was, and so it was a really beautiful experience though, and I learned from the people there what it looked like to really love someone, because they really loved me really well, and that kind of blew my mind. I wasn't used to that, and so I wanted to be a part of whatever they had. I wanted their drug. I was like, man, Jesus drug seems really awesome. And so I remember I prayed for the first time really ever the Lord, one of the last few nights, and I told him, I was like, hey God, I've been trying to save the world all my life, and I was like, I don't really know who you are, but I know that I want to follow you, and I want to be a part of whatever this is. And so pretty quickly after that, I realized that it was just a cool experience. I went from completely understanding that I was broken and that I couldn't save myself, or the rest of the world, and then realizing that God's the one that actually saves us. And so yeah, it was really cool. But after that, I got plugged into the church for the first time. So I went to a couple churches before then, church hopped, but I always thought they were just cults. And so I actually got plugged into the church and found a group of friends, and really I connected with the people there and really loved them. And then I went off to college. My church split pretty quick, or they split that last few months before I was going to college, and so I did have some church hurt before I went into college, but I love the Lord, and I knew that it was important to get plugged in pretty quickly because of that. And so I got plugged in with went to Valley Grove Baptist Church, and from there I met Megan Trotter, Megan Jarvis at the time, and she plugged me into the BSM. And so that was my freshman year. I also got plugged into ROTC, which is just important to know because that goes into Valor. But I got plugged in to ROTC, to BSM, and I love the BSM. I got on their leadership team my second semester freshman year, and I did outreach. And then that next semester, I did missional communities and focused on ROTC ministry. Yeah, because pretty quickly, so when I got into ROTC, pretty quickly I knew I wanted to do ministry in ROTC. I loved cadets already. It was almost natural. I loved the atmosphere. I loved the competition, the challenges out of it all. I just loved ROTC. And I love the Lord. And so it was natural. What am I going to do? I'm going to go share the Lord in ROTC. And so that's how I got plugged into an ROTC Bible study, and then from there we got plugged in with the crew ministry called Valor, and Valor is specific for cadets and for veterans in college. And so anyway, that's what I've been doing now. Is now I lead cadets in ministry. I lead Bible studies, and yeah, it's cool stuff. There's probably a lot I can expand on that. Just from I've gotten to see some really really cool things. I've had cadets that when they first so I made my own little leadership team based off of what I saw at the BSM. I loved the leadership team there, and I was like, man, I want something like that for Valor, because I want my guys. I want to train up leaders, and I want them to become. I want them to take over when I leave. I don't want Valor to die when I leave, and so I started training up leaders, and it's just cool because I've seen them from the very beginning where they first came on my leadership, and I would ask them, hey, you want to teach? And they're all like, get away from me, Satan. Like, I don't want to do that. That quote unquote, they said that to me. And then to the point where now they went to Beach Reach. I had one of my guys go to Beach Reach, and he was sharing the gospel on the vans during the mission trip, and that was so cool. It was so good for him. And my other, the one that actually quoted, get away from me, he teach now. Like, he's taught Bible studies for Valor, and he does great. And you know, he reached out to his roommate and did Bible studies on his own with his roommate, and so it's just been really cool. I've gotten to see them disciple, and yeah. So anyway, that's kind of a little bit about me, a little bit about what I do in Valor, and then the BSM's role in that. Well, like I said, I was on their leadership team, and so they really kind of helped hone my skills of how to do ministry in ROTC. When I first came to college, I was a young Christian. I'd known the Lord for about 3 years, but before that time, I didn't know anything about the Lord, and so I was still kind of a young Christian trying to figure out the ropes. I still probably am not really all that old, but they really taught me what it meant to do discipleship. First time I heard discipleship, I'm not gonna lie, I was terrified. That's a scary word, but now I love it. But anyway, they taught me how to do discipleship. They taught me how to lead Bible studies. They just gave me a mission mindset, and taught me that this can happen anywhere around the world all the time, and that's what I want to be about, is watching the world come to know the Lord. Just because I know the Lord and I love the Lord. Don't get me wrong, I still have my the parts of my life where we're trying to figure it out together, but that's the point. Like, now I don't have to do life alone. I've got the Lord to help me figure it all out. So anyway, that's me. My name is Gabby House. Thank you for your support, and please pray for Valor. Pray for leaderships that are, or the cadets that are coming up in the leadership, because I'm leaving pretty soon. I'm a senior, like I said, and so I really want them to be able to take over and feel ready to go. So yeah, just pray for the hearts of cadets, that they would come to know the Lord and love the Lord. And then pray for the cadets that, like me, pretty soon, I've got another year, but pretty soon are stepping off to go be lieutenants. Pray that I would continue to do ministry in the world of the military, and so would cadets. I pray that we would just pour into them and teach them how to be leaders that want to lead for Christ. Yeah, so anyway, I love you guys. Peace out.